this again. Hello. Hi, everyone. Before I start, I'd like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land, the wandering people of the Kulin Nation, and pay my respects to their elders present, past and emerging. Welcome to Academy XI. Welcome to Growth Colony. For those who is their first time here and don't know who we are, my name is Frank. I'm a general manager here at Academy XI Melbourne. We provide short, skill-specific, and practical courses in the areas of design, innovation, and technology. We partner to do events with communities like Growth Colony to bring you the brightest minds across Sydney and Melbourne to start conversations on how can we best utilize our skills in technology, data, and design. And today is exactly what we're covering. Today's a really special night because we've got Shahin, who's been partnering with us for just over a year now, and this is kind of like our final planned event where he's the man of the hour. So you'll be hearing from the founder himself, which is awesome. But before I hand it over to him, and he'll talk about a little bit about Growth Colony, just a bit of housekeeping. In case of any emergencies, you'll be evacuating through that hallway and down the stairs. If you need to use the facilities, they are on that same route, downstairs for the ladies, upstairs for the gents, depending on your preference. I see everyone's got a drink. We'll keep them coming throughout the nights. There's drinks and nibbles to keep you energized, so don't shy away from them. And last but not least is that we have a code of conduct here at Academy XI. And by being here, you're agreeing to it. And in a nutshell, is that we don't tolerate any sort of harassment, discrimination against sex, gender, religion, orientation, or anything of that matter. And that this is a safe space for everyone to learn and to grow. So just be mindful of everyone else's experience. We welcome everyone's voices and opinion, but when you're expressing them, be mindful of the person who's sitting next to you. I'm sure if we do that, everyone will have a great time. I'll hand it over to Shah. So again, welcome to Academy XI and welcome to Growth Colony.
Thank you, Frank. All right. Thank you, everyone, for coming. Such an awesome crowd. I really appreciate you taking a little bit of time out of Tuesday afternoon and dropping by. So let's kick it off. Let's kick it off. As Frank very kindly said, Growth Colony is obviously the community that we run, and it's all about growth marketing, and we bring CMOs and marketing expert in to talk about their experience. But tonight we're going to talk about LinkedIn ads. Now our slides are a little bit too small. Is that going to be the? Because that's going to be the. It's going to be a bit of an issue. All right. Well, look, we'll go through these slides until we can fix that. All right. So I've always been told you got to put a big number on the screen and make it look a little bit ambiguous at first, and then get some interest. But 48%. Any guesses? Just throw some out.
48% of people will probably get the answer to this one wrong.
Yeah, well, that means we got a good chance then. All right. Well, yeah, go for it.
48% people don't know what LinkedIn is?
No, that's. Well, actually, you're almost there. Let's go for another pick.
48% are on LinkedIn?
Yeah, exactly. All right, so 48% of Australian professionals are on LinkedIn, right? 1 in every 2 persons. So that's basically from 14 all the way to 64-year-olds. But if you kind of shrink that down, if you get rid of that 14, 15, all the way to 25, because they usually are not decision makers, if you get rid of that, then you look at metropolitan, white collar, we're pretty much up to 70%. So it has grown really fast. And most of its growth has been in the past year and a half or so with Microsoft's acquisition, $26 billion. And that has kind of driven that growth in. All right, we're good? Fantastic. Thank you very much, Alex. So that's where the growth is coming from. But before we jump into that, I'll just tell you a little bit about myself. So I'm Shahin Hoda. A little bit of a tricky name, but you know, it's usually people get it by the 5th or 6th time they try it. I've been in the B2B space for about 9 years. My background is in engineering, but I got into business development, technical business development from start, and kind of moved forward from there, and then got into software development and technical startups, technology startups, and working with them, putting business models and growth models in place. So I've been in marketing strategy and growth marketing for about 5 years, right? And I really like pomegranate. That last one is pretty important. Anyone who knows me knows that's pretty key. So, but let's move on. Why we're talking about LinkedIn ads. There are three main, actually before I start, just show of hands, how many people over here have ran LinkedIn ads before? All right, good number. Facebook ads? Okay, cool. How many over here are marketers? How many startup founders? All right. Cool. How many in B2B? Last one, I promise. All right. Okay. No, we're good. We're good. All right. So, three main reasons why LinkedIn is kind of so effective and why it works so well in the B2B space. The first reason is the mindset. So when somebody's on LinkedIn, they're thinking about their career, they're thinking about business development, they're thinking about business growth. So when they're flicking through and you're telling them about how to implement their IT infrastructure or whatever it is that is business related, they pay a lot more attention. The second reason is you also get past the gatekeeper. So it's similar to Facebook. You don't have to deal with the gatekeeper anymore. You straight go to the decision maker. But really the main component that makes LinkedIn so valuable is the targeting of it, right? So the targeting capability of LinkedIn, and some of you have ran LinkedIn ads, so you probably know, there's nothing similar to it in the market in terms of, we have a couple of slides that we're gonna go through the targeting, but that's what really makes it different from any other platform. There are a couple of downsides though, right? So, it's expensive. How many people have heard other people saying that LinkedIn ads are expensive? Yep, so there's a lot of complaints about that. And it's true, it is the most self-serving ad platform out there at the moment, right? So there are $1 a day strategies with Facebook. That doesn't work with LinkedIn. It kind of falls flat. You get clicks of somewhere between $6 to $9 easily when you're running LinkedIn ads. So if you are selling, you're trying to sell a $50 course, doesn't work. You just lose so much money before you make any purchases. So that's one of the components. But that's why also it works so well in the B2B space when you're dealing with deal sizes as large as $20, $30, $100, $200, $2 million, $1,000 or $2 million, $3 million. So that's why it works so well, because you get to spend a lot of money in terms of acquiring that customer. But that's the first problem. Second problem, relevancy score. Who's heard of relevancy score? All right, I'll maybe briefly explain relevancy score. So relevancy score is common in Facebook. That's what Facebook calls, when they evaluate your ad, they basically say whether this is a good ad or not, whether you can optimize this ad further or not, right? That's how they measure it. LinkedIn doesn't have that, or at least doesn't have it publicly. So they don't show you anything like relevancy score. They have something called the quality score, but you don't see it. So the way it works is if you are, if you're in the basic, you're just started with LinkedIn, what they do is they assign like a account manager to your account that talks to you about what you're doing is what's working, what's not working, how you can optimize, and so on and so forth. If you spend a lot of money with LinkedIn, they upgrade you, and then you get a strategist. The strategist then is going to generate a report and tells you about the quality score, which is about how well your LinkedIn ads are running, where you could improve them, what are the components that could contribute to that improvement, and so on and so forth. So they're not public yet. I think they're going to make it public, but at the moment they're not. So that's one of the downsides. Immature retargeting. Retargeting, familiar? Not familiar. Familiar? No. Okay, so retargeting. Retargeting means somebody lands on your website, you want to follow them everywhere else that they go on the web, right? So they see one ad, you want to make sure that they see another ad later on. That same person sees another ad later on as well. That's called retargeting, okay? LinkedIn retargeting, it does do retargeting. It's a bit shaky. It's not too good. And then we'll talk about what to do with that and how you could optimize that. And one of the main reasons for LinkedIn that retargeting is not good is because the amount of time that people spend on LinkedIn is not as much as they spend on Facebook or other social, or Google, and so on and so forth, right? Lastly, the platform is a bit buggy. So, some of the things will not work properly. One of the biggest problems, and definitely if you're running LinkedIn ads, make sure you check this regularly, is that they have this pixel. And I'm just measuring, who knows what's a advertising pixel? Okay, most people. So you install it on your website, and it knows when somebody clicks on an ad and they land on your page, right? It tells the platform that, yep, this ad worked. Their pixel sometimes turns off, and it just completely dies, and then you have to go back and install it. So those are some of the buggy platforms, and if you haven't checked, all of a sudden it's not tracking. So you have some issues. There are a couple other issues. I'm just getting these out of the way because sometimes people jump in and say like, you didn't mention that or you didn't mention this, so I'm just gonna get all of this out of the way. You don't have day parting, so you can't say which time of the day you want to show an ad. You don't have audience lookalike like you have in Facebook, so you can't upload a set of emails and say, I want to target people similar to these. What you can do is you can say, I want to target these people, but you can't do similar. But I think those are the major downside. But I'm sure somebody in the audience might point out more. Okay, but with all these issues, it's still pretty good. All right, what are the industries that LinkedIn ads work really well? By the way, at any point, if you want to interrupt me, please do so, and we'll just turn this into a little bit of a conversation. So please don't feel like you should wait until the end of the presentation. Obviously, it works really well with B2B, right? That's why we're pretty much here. It works B2B services, product, you name it. It works really well for higher education. So when you're trying to get a candidate as a candidate like a MBA or a PhD student, they pay the big money, so it definitely is worth for those kind of candidates. And it also works really well in recruitment. So, recruitment companies looking for a CEO for a client of theirs, really good platform to advertise to current CEOs or people who are in senior levels and get their interest. There are a couple other industries that it could work well as well. We have had success in the real estate scene. It works well in that field, but the color is a bit different, so it's not ideal. It also works really well with high-value automobiles, so Porsche and Range Rover and so on and so forth, because of the caliber of the people that you can target, and then you can interpret that, hey, I'm targeting senior level or CX level. Usually the pay is enough to be able to purchase a vehicle like that. So those are the industries that really work well. But there's one caveat that you definitely have to hit when you're doing LinkedIn ads. The lifetime value of your customer has to be somewhere around $17,000 or more. How many people know what's LTV? Lifetime value? I'll just explain quickly. So you get a customer. How much money do they pay you throughout their life cycle? So you might land them today, you bring your retainer in, and they pay you $3,000 a month, right? But you also calculate that every single customer stays with you for 3 months. So your customer LTV is $9,000, right? That's how you calculate LTV. With LinkedIn, in order to really make sense, it needs to be above $17,000. Okay, that's where you can make really good money with your ads. Under that, it becomes a bit challenging. Cool.
So that relates to the price of the product as well.
Absolutely.
So if you're selling a product that's a couple $100, then as you said earlier, then that's just very difficult to get the lifetime value of $17.
Correct, unless it's very sticky.
Yeah, that's right. And they're buying
A subscription or something.
plenty of upsell.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you can land and expand that account, meaning that you land them with a $100 per user, right? You do a trial of 5 users, but your data shows that you can expand that to, you know, a whole company and also upsell and cross-sell. Then in that, and if your data shows that you could go beyond that in their life cycle, lifetime value, definitely. Cool. All right. Usually when, and I've kind of stole this model from AJ Wilcox. He's a really, really cool guy when it comes to LinkedIn ads. Definitely check them out. But this is a kind of model that we look at when we're designing an ad, right? So the ammo model is you first talk, who's your audience, right? Who are you targeting? Now with LinkedIn, this is super easy. You have all the boxes, you take, this is the kind of person and, you know, this is the kind of company they're in and so on and so forth. That's all good. Messaging is your copy, your imagery, so on and so forth, right? So that's very tangible and you could very easily modify it. What's really critical is your offer. What is it that you're offering to these individuals on this platform, all right? And I'll explain what kind of offer works. But does this model make sense so far? So you pick your audience, you pick what kind of message you want to put in front of them, but you also decide what kind of message what kind of offer that message is going to sell. All right? So, what kind of offers work really well on LinkedIn? So this is kind of a funnel that we look at, and it goes from top, which is super easy, or low friction, all the way down to high friction. So at the very top, you got awareness and kind of blog promotion. You see a lot of this on Facebook. So a company posts an article, it gets a lot of attention, a lot of people like it, a lot of people comment on it, and it just tells the company this is a very engaging content. What they do is then they go on maybe $2, $3 a day, maybe sometimes a bit more if they want to push it harder, and they promote it so that more people will see it. It's an awareness game, right? So more people will read the article, know who wrote it, and then go from there, right? They get to familiarize themselves with the company. You can do that on LinkedIn. It's very expensive. So unless you're Telstra, it doesn't really make sense to run a campaign like that. What makes sense is from here downwards until this point. So things like cheat sheet downloads. So creating a really short one-page document on, you know, how to move your accounting firm to the cloud. I don't know, something like that, right? 5 quick steps that somebody would look at and be like, hey, I can look at this, and within 2-3 minutes, I know what they're talking about. That works. White paper and ebook, obviously it gets a bit longer. White paper is not as long, but you know, ebooks gets a lot longer. So the person who's downloading it is thinking about it. You know, do I have time to read this? Is it worth reading it? Gets a bit more challenging. Webinars, obviously they have to put maybe about 30 minutes to an hour of their time. They got to book out something in the calendar. Obviously it's a bit harder to sell that, but still works really well on LinkedIn. And the last one is a physical event like this, where people carve out time, they will travel, they will get to a location and spend some time over there, right? It gets really expensive when you want to sell something directly. When you want to say, you know, book a demo right now with our SDRs and our sales guy. When you say try our app right now, it's going to be great for your business and so on and so forth. This gets really expensive. So we usually stay away from this. Unless there is like a retargeting campaign, but if you're starting, definitely advise you to stay away from putting an offer out there that says, book a time with us right now and have a call, right? maybe at the end of this call, in the end of this meeting, I'll explain how you could, when you go through this funnel, how you could turn these afterwards into a demo or a sales call. I haven't put in the slides, but I hopefully will remember. Any question on this? No? We're good? Cool. This is an example of a LinkedIn ad. So this is Google's attempt to get you into a free event somewhere. I don't know where it is. But the offer is, the CTA is register. You can't really see it, but it's register. It's about learning, predict what's next, learn. These are really key. I'm going to show you towards maybe almost the end, I'm going to show you a really bad ad that you can't figure out what they want, right? So learn, awesome, I understand what they're all about. Register now, CTA is really clear. Learn how and register. This is not a button, it's just this whole thing is an image. 1,200 by 600 something. This whole thing is an image, but this CTA works magic. And a lot of when you come across a lot of ads, they just don't put it there. So, but this is a really good ad. Anyway, this is just an example. So, the type of ads that we got. So, first one, sponsored content. All right. How many people over here have ran sponsored content before? Show of hand. Yeah, cool. Okay. All right. Sponsored content is pretty straightforward. This is from yesterday. This is an ad. It's in your feed. You scroll down, and it comes up like any other post that you might have. There's no laser on this. So yeah, it's pretty normal. Now, those are the dimensions. This is really important. CTR, click-through rate. Clear for everybody? All right. So click-through rate. I'll quickly just explain what it is. How many people see it versus how many people click it. Okay? With these ads, you want it to be between 0.35% and 1%. You're doing well if it's there. If it's not, you got to go back. You got to think about your message. You got to think about your offer. You got to even play with your audience. But this is the range that you want to play with. Okay, so out of every 1,000 people who see it, 1 of them clicks. 10 of them clicks. That's really good. I've seen ones that actually can't say that. So what are they really good for? They're really good for generating leads, right? Getting those gated content and so on and so forth, driving them and generating leads. They are also mainly viewed on mobile. So when you design them, keep in mind they're going to be in a small screen. 70%. About 70% are viewed on mobile. Okay?
They only show up when the guy is on the mobile?
No, they don't only show up, okay. But their view rate, 70% of the times, they're mainly viewed on the mobile. They're also...
CTR rate is higher when it's on a mobile?
Not necessarily. No, not necessarily. The data on that is inconclusive, right? But you also get them on desktop, right? Here it is. So this is another ad about automating. This is a direct sale, right? So they're directly trying to book me into a demo, which again, it just takes up their price. They probably have raised some couple of millions. They got money, right? They're going to spend it. But no, you see it over here on desktop as well. Okay?
Sorry, when you say it's expensive, it's because that kind of ad is more expensive?
No, it's expensive because of this, not the pomegranate. Yes, because of this. So.
But because it works more people to.
No, so that ad that I just showed you, and we're going to go back to it, right? It's not telling. Google's ad was talking about an event. It was saying, register for this free event and come and see it. All right? The further you go down, the more expensive it's going to be. So if I tell you, hey, here's a really cool white paper you're going to find valuable. It's about LinkedIn ads. All right? It has all the secrets of LinkedIn ads. It's more likelier out of this room, let's say there's 100 people in here, okay? 70 people are gonna, and all right, let's just go back. I've spent $100, there are 100 people in this room, okay? And I've given all of them, I'm showing everybody a white paper about LinkedIn ads. It has all the secrets, okay? This white paper, about maybe 70 people over here are going to click on this, right? So my cost is $100 divided by 70. Or sorry, 70 divided by 100. That's the cost per click. If I come further down and I say I'm going to have an event that is going to be, it's going to talk about all the secrets of LinkedIn ads, all right? And I show it to the same room, maybe 40 people will click on it. I'm spending the same 100 to show it to 100 people. Then all of a sudden, it becomes more expensive. Yes, right? If you go further down, and if you say, hey, I want to sell you a service, I want to sell you a course, right? And I'm going to charge for it. Click over here to find out more. 10 people are going to click on it, right? So that's what I mean. Over here, they're trying to book a demo, right? So it's costing them more to book that demo rather than just giving me a, again, white paper about how to automate my agency.
So they've got lower click-through rates.
Thank you very much. Yes. All right. Carousel ads. This is new. This is maybe about 2 months. LinkedIn launched it about 2 months ago. They are, again, I've put this number, it's not completely clear, all right, because there's not a lot of data out there. It's just been 2 months, but that's the format. It's also really good for retargeting, lead gen and retargeting. So somebody has seen your ad, okay, that it's about automating your agency. What you can come back and do is you can tell them a story about how you do it. Talk about the values of your every slide over here, and you can click next here, and you go to the next and the next and the next. It tells the individual who's looking at this ad about all the benefits. So they've already seen your brand, now you're giving them a little bit more.
They're staying on the LinkedIn platform, they're not
Nope.
jumping away.
Yep, still on the same LinkedIn platform. So let's say they've clicked on this ad, right? And they've left, and they came back 10 days later, you show them something like this, right? So it works really well for retargeting. The people who did it really well, it's a conference in Sydney called B2B Marketers or something like that, where their first ad was telling you about the B2B marketing and the conference. And then the second retargeting was they would have the headshot of speakers that are coming to the event, right? So this speaker from Telstra is coming. This speaker from this place is coming, yada, 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 right? Cool. So carousel ads, really new. We're getting some really good results. If you're playing around, definitely check it out. InMail. How many people have received InMail ads before on LinkedIn? Yeah, pretty much everybody. All right. So it's just a normal message on LinkedIn that you get, but it's obviously an ad. Cost is between 45 cents to 85 cents. It sounds cheap. It can be very expensive because this is per number of cents. So how many you've sent? They got about a 50% open rate. Click-through rate is different. And then you got sign-up. So you got multiple steps. So you send it, you pay. Then do they open it? 50% open. Then do they click? Sometimes that could be 10%, that could be 20%. Do they even register for your CTA? Okay, so
And these you can focus on the type of person you're looking for. You can say, please LinkedIn, send it to
all of them you can focus on the type of. So
InMail might be more specific.
not necessarily. Not necessarily. I'll go through targeting. The targeting is the same for all the ads. Okay, these are really good for events and webinars. Sending messages like, hey, we came across your profile, really awesome background, we have this event, we saw that you're in this IT company and you're trying to sell to businesses your IT services. We're having an event about LinkedIn ads. where we talk about how you could reach more companies to do this, and we think this is going to be a perfect event for you. They work really well because you get a bit personal, and so on and so forth. So, really good events.
Sorry, what time do you reckon you're going to finish, roughly?
We've got maybe about another 25 minutes or so.
Okay, I've just got a party made probably.
Okay. Gonna risk it for the biscuit? All right. Cool. All right. No, love it. All right. So, yes, please.
You remember the expense, but what does CPU item stand for?
Oh, that is cost per in-mail. Yeah, sorry. Yes, cost per in-mail. I should have probably clarified that. Thank you. So yeah, every in-mail that you send depends on the targeting that you have, and we'll talk about a couple of the targeting models that you could use. Depend on the targeting, it gets more or less expensive. Okay? And last thing is, if I've received an in-mail today, LinkedIn will not send me an in-mail until 45 days later. Okay, so they're not going to inundate your LinkedIn from anyone for more than 45 days. Okay, and the reason is they want to keep that messaging component valuable on LinkedIn, so it becomes that communication platform. Cool. Yeah, that's just so this is a guy reaching out from Zendesk, and you got the CTA right at top, and a CTA right at the bottom over here to request a demo. Book an event. You could have whatever CTA.
But it's not an ad. It's not just a regular email, and it's not an ad.
This says sponsored right here. Yeah. Cool. Lead gen forms. This is not super new. A few months back. They're good. They're very similar to Facebook lead gen forms. How many people have ran these kind of ads? Yep. Okay. What kind of success have you guys got? Maybe somebody you've raised your hand at the back. Success.
Facebook or LinkedIn?
Have you done for LinkedIn? How was it?
Not correct.
Yeah. What was the problem?
Probably now that we're here, probably the actual company being on that platform and advertising.
The actual company that.
Like as in the product wasn't right.
Oh, I see. Okay, gotcha. All right, fair enough. Anybody else? Any other feedback on that? You think why it didn't work? All right, that's cool. They're buggy. They're not perfect yet. The challenges with them is that you can't retarget with them. And you can't properly track them, but the conversion is a lot easier, right? So people open it up. What happens here? So I've seen this, which is get started with 200 free blockchain verifiable survey responses. So they're going to give me a document, right? And I say sign up. It opens up. It already has in my email, my name, job title, everything, and I click submit, and boom, I get the report. Easy to get leads. The quality of leads are questionable, just because how easy it is. It's a bit funny. When you generate leads, everybody think that if you generate leads, you're all good, but it's really the quality of leads that you generate, right? I'm sure a lot of people who've done lead gen over here know that you come in with, hey, we got 25 leads this week. All right, how many of them are going to buy? How many of them fit our ideal customer profile? Not a lot, right? This is one of the reasons. If you want to, if you have a quota of leads that you want to hit, fantastic. Just jump on these. You get leads like there's no tomorrow. Also Facebook lead gen, same thing. You get a lot of leads, but you got to go through them a lot to find a qualified one. So that's the challenge with these. All right. We don't really use them. We haven't seen a lot of success with them. Again, just because of tracking issues and the quality that comes through. All right. So, but it integrates with major CRMs. It directly goes to your CRM and so on and so forth. So those are some of the good things about it. Video ads. This is another one. Look, LinkedIn is a new platform, right? And they still have a lot to figure out. They price it based on 3-second intervals, right? And again, variable based on the kind of targeting that you're doing. Not a lot of success. Primarily because you can't retarget based on the amount of time that people have watched. So if you have used Facebook, video ads are amazing on Facebook. They give such beautiful result. And one of the main reasons is the powerful retargeting component behind it. So you basically, you know that if somebody watches the first 3 seconds, you don't want to retarget them. But if somebody has gone through half of the video, you want to have some sort of retargeting. You can even change that if somebody has gone all the way to the end of it. So LinkedIn, you can't do any of that. So they're probably going to build that capability into it, but they don't have it yet. All right? No retargeting. Yep. Any questions? Yes.
So what's the maximum duration of the video? Is there a maximum?
That's a good question. I know when you're doing organic video, you can't go above 10 minutes. I'm not sure about the ads. If you want, I can check and I can get back to you. I can't think off the top of my head because we've ran ads before and it hasn't resulted in success. So we haven't. We always, if the client has a video, we always test it just to show that whether it works or not. And most of the times we haven't got success. I can't remember off the top of my head the duration of the video, but for organic posts, I know it's 10 minutes.
Okay.
So if you're
It'd be good to know also the completion, like average completion rate, like say there's a
on the LinkedIn ads, they don't give that information. No. Cool. Text ads. All right, so text ads are the little stuff in the corner. I'll maximize it and I'll go back. So these are text ads. Sometimes you see it in like a bundle of 3 going like this. They are so-so. They're not that great. They're good for awareness, for people to know your brand. They see it in the top corner. If you get a click-through rate of 0.03%, you're good. Yeah, they're not that great. This is a typo. It's only on desktop. You don't get it on mobile. It only appears on desktop. And that's the dimension. It's, as I said, it's good for awareness. Again, if you're trying to get leads, it's good for big corporations. And you see it over here. Outbrain, they've raised so much money. RMIT. If you're trying to generate lead, stay away. If you've got a big client and you want to show you're doing a lot of stuff for them.
So 10 minutes.
What was that?
10 minutes and 5 gigabytes. 5 GB. 10 minutes is the maximum length of the video.
Oh, 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay, so the video ads are 10 minutes as well. Thank you very much for that. Dynamic ads. Again, new addition. This is, they take your face, they put it right next to a company logo. This is really great if you want to get followers. So if we're, for example, Growth Colony or Academy XI, they want to increase their followers, so when they put events and so on and so forth, a lot of people will get notified. So this is also good for that. Expensive, but that's kind of how it works. So increase the followers of your LinkedIn account. Not so good in general because on LinkedIn it is proven that users interact way less with content produced by a company versus a personal profile. So even though you have a lot of followers, they probably are not going to interact with your content a lot, just because they trust an individual a lot more than a corporate profile. Okay, so, but hey, we're going through all the type of LinkedIn ads, so any questions? I think this is the last one. Yes. Any questions on the type of LinkedIn ads? Okay, cool. Targeting. So you could do a lot of targeting. You could look at the professional level. You could do, job title, job function, seniority, skills. What kind of skills do they have? You could put those those skills. I'll put an example so you can be looking at a CMO, their job function is in marketing, they're a director, they specialize in retention, and they're part of a group called Growth Colony. This is pretty cool that you could run ads based on people who are part of certain groups. So based on their interest, at kind of like an interest level. Firmographics, you obviously can pick the industry that they're in, financial services, the company size, so you can say, you know, I want 1 to 4, or all the way to enterprise level, 10,000, I think it's 10,000 plus. Company name. One of the tactics that, if you've run LinkedIn ads before, one of the things that you could do is you could reverse it. So what I mean by that is, if you have, you could exclude. And if you've said, hey, I want companies with size 51 and above, all right? Or let's say 51 and below, those are the companies that I want. You could reverse that and you could say, I exclude companies of 51 and above, right? And what that gets you a lot of times is some of the companies, because this data is user filled. So the user enters this information, and a lot of times it's not accurate. So when you play around with that, you all of a sudden reach certain, and they're really cheap because there are not a lot of the ads don't really get to them. Most of the times it's companies that set up their page when they were small, and then they grew, and then they didn't update it. So you get access to some really large organizations. Well, not really large, but you know, you get the idea. They might have been 20 and they've grown to 50, and all of a sudden they're qualified for a certain product that you're offering, but because the LinkedIn profile is, you know, we're 11 to 20 people size, you're not targeting to them. So you could do a reverse sometimes as well. That works really nicely. Education. That stuff works really well if you're targeting for universities. If you're, you know, again, if you're aiming for, you know, RMIT wants to target people who want to do MBA, or RMIT want to target people who are doing want to do their PhD. So you could say, I want people with master's degrees, for example. And you could mix it up with some seniority level based on the level of income that they have, whether they can pay for a $40,000 MBA course. Okay? And then there's the demographic. Obviously, the most commonly used component is the geography, where you pick where you're focusing on. Now, you can pick job titles, right? Job titles, when you pick job titles, you basically type it, and LinkedIn gives you suggestions. So you write, I want Chief Marketing Officer. And then LinkedIn just fills that, says, did you mean Chief Marketing Officer? And you say yes. LinkedIn picks that list based on the data, the most common data that is on the platform. Okay? So they see a lot of Chief Marketing Officer, and they say, we're going to make this a category. Very expensive, all right? Highly targeted, but very expensive. And you probably are not going to reach all your market, because there's going to be marketing. In Australia, it's very common. You get CMOs, you get marketing directors, it's an American company, you get VP of marketing, right? So it's a mix. It's a mix, please.
Is there a committed internal translation to like German? Like if the guy is German and his title is in German, and then it's the same thing in English?
I am not sure about that. That's a good question.
I mean, not everybody has.
Because I know you're right. You're right. There are. I think you can target that in German, but I got to check that. Not completely sure about that. But good question. But as I was saying, expensive, and you kind of miss a couple of people, but very highly targeted. The people you're going to get to are definitely the people that you want to get to. Job function basis and seniority, that's another combination. It's a pretty decent combination when you mix these two. Obviously, there are a couple other components. You might say, you know, I'm not picking the other one. I'm just focusing on these 5. with these you mix industry, you might mix education, but you definitely mix the demographic as well, the location. But these two are another good combination. They are probably one of the lowest in terms of the price. Their targeting is decent. It's not as good as job titles, but they're okay. And the middle kind of combination is we mix groups and seniority. So we say, you know, we want Growth Colony, and we want everyone part of Growth Colony's group who are management and above, right? So we don't want any interns, entry level, and so on and so forth. This is kind of medium price-wise, it's kind of in the middle. Targeting is kind of in the middle as well. Cool. It's getting a bit technical, but any questions? No? Cool. All right. Few extra points, and then we jump into questions. All right, so when you're running an ad, the audience size that you want to aim for is about 20 to 100,000. All right? It's hard to get to those numbers in Australia. So if you go a little bit below that, if you get 10,000, we've even done ads with 8,000 and so on and so forth, it still works. But the ideal size is about 20,000. If you're more, 20 to 100,000. If you're more than that, you got to break up your ads, right? And then do multiple ads. Does that make sense to everyone? So if we go with one ad, and we say we want, you know, directors in Growth Colony group, and then it gives you, you know, 300,000, then you could break it up. Break it up and maybe see if you can introduce job function. You could introduce in company size, right? Play around with that, but get it in this range.
So you can play with the parameters. It tells you the audience size.
Yeah, it just shows you right in the corner of this is the approximate range of people you're going to reach.
If you've got the bigger number, are you thinking that it's not specific enough? So the reason you're breaking it up is you're now targeting the right person, or why are you breaking it up?
The effectiveness of your ad goes higher, right? So the effectiveness of your ad goes higher. You can further customize your ad as well. So if you go with industry, if you enter, for example, the industry component, your ad copy could change, right? So it becomes a bit more personalized. And the pricing doesn't change much. And you can also pinpoint what are the components in your ads a lot better. What are the components that are working and what are the components that are not? When you're too broad, you can't really tell what's making people click.
Yep.
Does that make sense?
It does.
Okay.
So what you're saying is the bigger the audience, the more clicks you get, but those clicks won't be as relevant. So you're targeting more and you're tweaking your ad to get a less expensive ad.
That's correct.
Okay. Great.
Cool. The image should be relevant. All right? I know if you've been running ads, I'm sure you've heard this quite a lot, but we see some big companies running ads that it's just like, what is this about? So make sure the image is relevant. So if you're talking about, let's give an example from the audience. What is someone who's selling that is in this kind of demographic of what we're aiming for? Medical services, right? So if it is about medical services, don't show somebody who's happy and running around. Make that image as relevant as.
The patient is smiling with cancer.
There you go, right?
The patient is smiling when she has cancer.
Cool, but again, the image, if it's outdoors and if it's, I'll show an example right now. If it's outdoors, and again, when I look at it, I can't really associate with it. The click-through drops, right? So make sure the image is relevant. Make sure also the image is relevant to your landing page. They call it breadcrumbs. So make sure that if you're using one image in your ad, you have the same image on your landing page. Because what happens is somebody clicks on the ad and they go to a landing page and it looks completely different, right? So what happens is when it's similar, they basically feel safe. I clicked on the right thing and I landed on the right place. So make sure those two are aligned and also the image is proper CTA. Avoid ambiguous stuff. So we looked at Google, the very first ad, which they were talking about, hey, sign up for this free event, learn more. Those are the kind of CTAs. Register was the exact CTA. Here's an example. Anyone from Telstra over here? Anyone does any advertising for Telstra over here? Cool. All right. So the ad says, be that business. There's no CTA. And it says, because even the best laid plans can change, our business mobile choice plan has no lock-in contract and can evolve with your business. Yeah.
What's missing? A learn more button or a buying?
I don't know what they want me to do.
So would
It's
you
a
not- yeah, right where the flag is, should there not be? Are you saying the call to be that business is not much of a call to action? That's what you're saying.
There's not. I don't know what they want me to do right now. I mean, after looking at this, and reading that text properly, I know that they probably are going to talk. They're talking about, hey, their business telephone deals that they have, and it's really good. And now they're saying, hey, be like that business that has a really good deal. I probably can guess that now after have taken a screenshot and prepared it for this presentation.
And the image is nothing. And the image is, what does the image tell me?
It's just someone who's,
Shop or
Someone not serving customers.
yeah, it could be. So
Business you don't want to go to.
So this is a big company. They're paying big money to the whoever the agency is who's running this ad. But there's just so many issues with it, and it could be performing so much better. So don't do that.
So every ad should have a call to action.
Yeah, absolutely.
But in that one, the message is clear.
No, the message is not clear, and the offer is not clear, right? So yeah.
There's no actual call to action link though, is there? The whole image is the link, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. So you could put that's only for lead ads, lead gen form. So lead gen form has a CTA right like down here, where it says like sign up or register or whatever you want the CTA. The in-mails have a CTA, if you remember we had a look at. So that says exactly book a demo, whatever. But these ones, you want to bake it in. Actually, let's just have a quick look at the. Yeah, we're going through pomegranate. Yep. All right.
There it is.
Register. Right? It's super clear. You're right. Does not have a CTA over here. Again, learn how to do this. Register now in the description, and you got the register button right here. Right? So.
Can I ask you where you learned to say register? Because I didn't know what you were saying.
Oh, really?
It took me a while.
Sorry. It's
Slow.
yep.
Register.
Register.
Back up.
I'll practice on that.
I finally worked it out.
No, fantastic. I should have come back to this earlier.
Okay.
All right, cool. All right. So where are we at? Now we got this and this one. All right. Oh, this is supposed to be different.
Thank God for that.
So
I'm thinking I should have gone to the parking meter.
no. I think I got it. Yeah. So bid amount. The bid amount. So that's the daily budget. The bid amount, when you're filling the data, right? Filling all the information, it asks you for, hey, how much do you want to bid per day? Now, when you select, it gives you a suggestion. It says, why don't you put $9 in here? We've done all the analysis, and it's going to be $9 a day. It's not necessarily, even if you put $9 a day, which I always advise you to put a lot lower, right? So they're going to give you also a minimum value. Pick as close to the minimum value as possible, and then build slowly up. But even if you put, $9 in there, right? That's their suggestion. You're not going to necessarily spend $9. And it's a bit complicated how they calculate it, but it is tied to the quality score that we talked about earlier, which is similar to relevancy score in Facebook. Yeah, no? Okay. It's tied to that, and based on that, they will calculate. They will look at the other people who are targeting the same people, and based on their relevancy score, your price will either go up or down. Again, so it's not exactly the same amount. So don't think you're going to be spending the same thing. If the numbers come back and it's lower or higher, it's not usually higher. If it's lower, it's because of your relevancy score. So it's a good way to know whether you have a good relevancy score or not, if LinkedIn doesn't tell you that. Went around that so much, but we got there. Retargeting. So retargeting is not great on LinkedIn. What we do instead is we bring all these really qualified traffic from LinkedIn, and then we retarget them on Google and Facebook. Really effective. Who's not clear on that? I'll explain further. Okay, cool. So which part is not clear?
How do you actually track the same person across platforms?
So we would put the Google pixel and the Facebook pixel on our website, right? So the traffic from LinkedIn comes in. All those pixels, the LinkedIn pixel fires, the Facebook pixel fires, the Google pixel fires. They all put a cookie on the person who comes on your website. Now what you do is you pretty much, with those 3 platforms, you can track that individual anywhere on the web. That's how we track.
Then how do you put in that custom audience for Facebook?
So you don't touch the custom audience part.
Yeah.
Right? So you create the Facebook pixel, you just install on your website, and that just fires, and that individual gets targeted. Is that?
So they just get retargeted in their general web browsing, not directly on Facebook or?
No, they will also get retargeted on Facebook. So we also show them the ads on Facebook.
So you have to sign up in a Facebook ad and tell them, I'm looking for this guy.
I'll explain the journey of someone, right? So we give them
This is less and less legal in the European Union.
in European Union. Yeah, I don't know how GDPR. Well, look, yeah, I'm not so sure about that, about the legality with GDPR, because you're showing them ad, but you're not necessarily.
Temporarily storing personal information and you are using it on a different platform.
I'm not sure about that. Yeah,
Yeah, well,
I love your European questions. That definitely.
no one is perfect, I'm sorry.
No, that's all good. That's all good. It's more questions for us to find out answers for. So, no, I appreciate that. But I'll just explain that journey. So, I'll have a sponsored content piece, and somebody's scrolling down their news feed, and they will click on that. They will land on my landing page that is promoting whatever it is. On the landing page, we'll have all the pixels for all the platforms on there. Google, Facebook, and so on and so forth. From there, we basically, if it's Facebook, I say when this person goes back on Facebook, right, if there is a registered account on Facebook, I want to show this specific ad to them. That's how we, and the same thing, if it goes on any platform that is registered with GDN, with Google, I want to show this other ad to them. That's how we go about it. Cool. All right. Last one. Combine ads. Don't just run one ad. Yeah.
So it's more like you run like a view content ad on Facebook with your view your website.
Yes, pretty much. Yep, pretty much.
Sorry, who pays for the ad on Facebook?
You pay for it. Yeah.
I know, but through LinkedIn?
Yeah. All of it is attached to your account.
Right.
So you would be.
The cost of the Facebook ad is the same as the LinkedIn?
No. Cost of Facebook is a lot lower. Yes.
Sorry, when you go back a slide, the top right corner changes from daily. No, sorry, go back and do next.
This one. Yes, I made a typo there.
Okay.
I know. So the daily budget is not $20,000 to $100,000, right? So this is the bid amount.
Okay. So you
Yep.
don't pay for what you
No. So yeah. So this is the right slide, which is the bid amount, which I was talking about. When you put that $9 in there, it's not going to necessarily be $9 that you're going to be spending.
At the same time, it's not going to be $9,000.
No. Yeah, absolutely.
So you can still trial it work it out.
That's what I'm saying. Always, so even if you get on the phone with LinkedIn, right, what they're going to tell you is put it all the way to maximum, right, which is sometimes maybe about $50 to start with.
What's the minimum I can do?
Bring it down, right? Bring it down. They make a suggestion. Sometimes the suggestion is like 6.25, right? Put it down and build up from there.
Can you define what bid amount is? Is that how much everybody?
So yeah, so you say,
Value of the word or something?
sure thing. So you say per day, I want to spend $50 on LinkedIn. All right. Now, these are the ads I'm running. When I hit that mark, I want you to stop. Right? That's the bid amount. So there's a box over there that you can put $50, and LinkedIn will give suggestions. So we'll say this is the range, but we suggest you put the maximum. Let's say the range is $6 to $50, right? All I'm saying is go at the lower end.
So that's your
daily budget.
Okay, so it's not like, and that, how does that translate to how many ads get shown?
That's depending on the targeting that you have.
Okay, there's a price for each of that.
Correct.
So I say I want to spend $50, and now let's come back and say you're going to show it 10,000 times or whatever it happens to be.
Usually you run the ad, and then you will see how much each click is costing you.
We can Sales Navigator is worth getting, and how does it relate to ads?
Yeah, you don't need Sales Navigator for this. No, Sales Navigator is built for sales guys basically, for prospecting, and it's more in LinkedIn organic work that you do. So if you do any organic work, Sales Navigator comes into play there. So Sales Navigator, what it allows you is allows more specific targeting, right? So you say, I'm a sales guy and I want to find leads. It actually, the targeting is very similar to what we went through here, right, on the ad manager side. But it's more for a personal level, and you can't automate that unless you have a bot. But on LinkedIn platform, you can't automate it. Look, there are areas that you can use a bot, right? Obviously, LinkedIn is very, they don't like bots. So you would get, if you overuse it, you will get reported, and in some cases, your account would get shut down. So yeah, it's up to you. All right. So
Is there an equivalent like in Google AdWords for AdWords? So like the AdWords cost different amounts. So here it's just about the targeting, I guess. I'm just trying to understand. In Google Ads, you keep putting keywords and someone searches for those words and your ad shows up. Here it's about the target audience more than what they don't really do a search, I guess.
So over here, yeah. So over here you are. So Google is intent-based. So it means that somebody has an intent. They've put a keyword in, right? That's what they're looking for. This is more interruption-based. So they're scrolling down, and they're like, oh, that's interesting. So your job is to grab their interest. Cool. More, very similar to Facebook. Yeah. The last point. Any other questions? No. Last point is combine the ads, right? So run if you want to promote an event, run a combination of in-mail and what do you call sponsored content. Works really well. Run a couple of sponsored content. They would see on their newsfeed. Sometimes they won't interact with, right? And then send them a personalized in-mail to some degree, as much as you can personalize it. In-mail that, hey, we're running this event. Why don't you check it out? Okay? The more ads you run, the more success you're going to have. That is, if you take one thing away, other than the fact that I like pomegranates from tonight, is that run as many ads as you can, right? That's the, yeah, please.
If you're running multiple ads, do you run them under the same campaign or create different campaigns?
No, you could run them in the same campaign.
Yeah.
No, you can absolutely run them in the same campaign.
And so if you're running them in the same campaign, will that all be coming from that campaign's budget, all of the ads, or do they each need their own?
Because, yeah, so you got group campaigns.
Yeah.
So you got campaign and then you get ad on LinkedIn, right? So when you run within one campaign, no, all of them come from one budget. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. And we talked about combining ad. There was one more thing that I wanted to talk about combining ads. that I can't remember. We talked about retargeting. I talked about combining the sponsored content with the carousel ads. We talked about that already.
Sorry, you spoke about combine how to move people from webinar events to a sales call. So that's another point. I think I jumped forward to
Yeah. All right. Cool. And let's go back. I think we are done. Yes, we're done. So, how do you move people from a webinar to a sales call? You could obviously do this offline. The script that we use, and this helps our clients a lot. So we see somebody downloads a webinar, right? And or let's say they download a white paper, okay? Now, in most cases, if you have requested to get their phone number, I definitely advise you on your landing page to ask for a work email, right? So you know where they work and you can get that phone number from Google. You call them up. So you got two steps. You got to get past the gatekeeper, and then you got to talk to the person and keep them interested. So the first point that we do is we call up the gatekeeper and we say, we've had this individual inquire about whatever it is that they inquire, whatever the white paper was, right? And we're just following up on that. Okay? So all of a sudden the gatekeeper is like, oh, this person is already contacted them. They're just following up. 60-70% of the time, we get past the gatekeeper. And then the second step is, don't ask, if you're calling these individuals, don't ask how they found the white paper, because nobody reads white papers. We like to download them and have them on our desktop because we feel good and feel smart, while we don't read them. So ask about what was it that made you download that white paper, right? So then they will explain, hey, this is the challenge that we're having. Well, look, our IT infrastructure is having issues, and I saw that, and oh, great, and then go from there. So that's one of the things that we've kind of trial and error with a couple of different calls, and we found works best on that front. So that's it. Look, if you want to reach out, that's my email. Shahin Hoda is, there are not a lot of people with that name. Just feel free to give us a buzz. Thank you. Thanks. Hang out as well. We're going to have a couple of drinks.